Welcome to Alamo In Session with Palo Alto College. I'm Rose Flores. In today's Alamo In Session, we're going to be learning about Gardening 101, starting a home vegetable garden. The tools that you'll need to start your garden are a shovel, a hard rake, gloves, a hat, and a nice sunny area where you get at least 6 hours of sunlight a day. I'm going to add one more tool to our soil preparation, and that's a small tiller. This is definitely not a required tool to get a garden started, but it definitely makes the job easier. The day before you dig, you may want to go ahead and add some water to your soil. This would help loosen the soil and make it easier to dig. As we break ground, we're going to notice that depending on the area that your garden is in, you may have some weeds or other plant material already growing in that spot. You can dig out the first inch or 2 inches and put that material in your compost pile. As you can see, our soil is quite hard, so I'm going to go ahead and bring in the tiller to do the heavy lifting for us. So I didn't really use the tiller to dig deep into the ground. I do like my soil. We have a really nice sandy loam here. I used it more to remove the top layer of weeds and roots. Knowing your soil texture is important. Soils that have a lot of clay tend to hold on to water and not release nutrients as easily as other types of soils. Soils that are sandy tend to have good drainage, but don't hold on to nutrients as well. I'm going to go ahead and continue digging just a little bit deeper to loosen the top layer of soil now that we've removed the weeds, and then we'll add our organic matter. This is organic matter. This is compost. Organic matter is simply dead plants and microorganisms that have decayed and broken down. When this organic matter is consumed by small microorganisms, the nutrients in the decayed material become available to our plants. This is why adding compost is so important. This is compost that's made at the Palo Alto College campus by our horticulture students. I don't like to make things complicated. I try to go as simple as possible when I garden. So I'm only adding in the compost, and then I will go ahead and fertilize with an organic fertilizer. Follow the label, that's important. Make sure you follow the labels of the fertilizers that you purchase. I'll go ahead and apply those in about a week once our plants are established. So these are pepper plants. Just gonna do a little pepper garden here. You can see that the roots, they look really nice. It's a little compacted, but that's okay. We're gonna tease them out gently a little bit. We don't wanna stress our plants out too much because they will be stressed by this transition. Some people like to add the amendments to the bottom of the hole that they're digging, and that's okay too. The soils in South Central Texas can be very different from one another, depending on the area that you live in. Here are some other ways that our faculty handles these types of soils in their own gardens.
Because many of us in San Antonio have thin clay soils over rock, the best way to garden is with a raised bed. Today, I'll give you tips in starting a raised bed of your own.
The minimum recommended depth for a raised bed is 6 to 8 inches. However, you can make yours as deep as you would like. The most common depth is between 12 to 18 inches because this allows the plant roots to have more space to grow. There are many different materials that will work for the walls of your raised bed: wood, stone, or even polymer. As you can see, my garden bed is simply made from cinder blocks. The most important part of any garden is the soil. One of the benefits of a raised bed is that it allows you to control what type of soil your plants will grow in. To fill your raised bed, we recommend using garden soil, not topsoil. There are a lot of garden soil choices out there, but you don't have to buy the kind with special additives. We recommend a mix of 2/3 garden soil and 1/3 complete compost. Water is another important part of gardening, and there are many ways to supply the plants with water. The most efficient method is drip irrigation, as I have done here. Once your plants are in the bed, it's recommended that you also apply 2 to 3 inches of some type of mulch, like a double shredded hardwood or even leaves from your yard. This added layer will help to keep your soil and roots cool, moisture in, and weeds out.
Today I'll be teaching you about gardening 101 in sandy soil. So I'm going to be demonstrating you how to garden in this sandy soil that it tends to actually hold less water than other soils. So it is very important to add some amendments to it. That's one of the reasons that I'll be using some compost, and I'll show you how to get that started.
We want to make sure that we remove the mulch before we dig the hole for our plants. This hole can be about 10 to 12 inches wide all the way around and 6 inches deep. This topsoil is very porous soil material, thus it really allows for more air available in the root zone, but it also allows for rapid water to pass through. Therefore, this type of soil material does not allow for a good water holding capacity, and that's how we end up needing to water sometimes more frequent when you have sandy soils. So it is a good idea to add either a type of compost or a gardening soil for two reasons: for nutrition and in order for water holding capacity to be increased. In the hole will look something like this. We don't want to damage the roots, so we can turn the plant upside down while holding the soil and pull the container off. These roots look well developed and healthy. I'm removing a small layer of the roots that were starting to go in circles at the bottom of the container. By doing this, it can prevent the roots from continuing to grow in that circular manner. In this space, we will be adding some of our compost or gardening soil if you prefer, and of course, we will also be adding the root ball of our plant, which in this case, it will be a 4-inch container. Make sure that you save some of the sand that you are removing from the hole to be reincorporated with some of the compost. Lastly, we want to water in our plants right after we finish planting, and water it every day for at least 1 week.
Thank you for attending Alamo In Session with Palo Alto College. We hope to see you for future classes.
When it comes to what you want to plant in your garden, there are a couple of things you want to keep in mind. The first one is, what season are you in? Our local extension service has a great guide online that lets us know what vegetables to plant in our region and what are the best dates to plant. In my garden right now, I have beans, tomatoes, okra, and peppers. Since we live in South Central Texas, the heat can get intense in our gardens, and sometimes watering every day doesn't always keep the soil as wet as the plants need it. So I'm going to go ahead and top off with some mulch. And this will help keep the plants moist throughout the hot summer months. You want to make sure that you put your mulch on top of the compost. Don't mix it in underneath the compost or within your soil. You want to make sure it's on top. Think of your mulch as a blanket. It's there to protect the soil and compost and your plant's roots. After this, you can go ahead and personalize your little garden by putting signs, tomato cages if you have tomatoes, stakes for your beans, cucumbers, and then even a small fence if you need to keep any little critters out. And in a couple of months, your garden will reward you with fresh, delicious produce for you and your family.